evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. I am Sosan Ali, and here are tonight's main headlines. 145 services to simplify the procedures of government services in the first phase of Menjem laboratories are approved. The 6th Oman International Conference on Food Safety and Quality is launched in Muscat. And the Royal Hospital succeeds in performing an operation to remove the right lung and part of the trachea for a patient suffering from a cancerous tumor. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The outcome of the first phase of Menjem Labs to simplify government services were approved today by simplifying 145 government services. More details in the following report.
Within the efforts of the government towards attaining digital transformation, increasing productivity, facilitating access to services, and meeting the aspirations of end users, ministers and heads of units signed 145 simplified government services as part of the outcomes of the first phase of Menjem Labs.
We have simplified about 145 government processes in this first phase, and today was the signature and the authorization by all the government or the ministries involved, the heads of these ministries, in order for these processes to go to the next stage, which is basically digitalization. We expect to do more. This year we will simplify an additional 400 on top of the 145 I just spoke about. Next year we expect about the same number. Eventually by 2025, 80% of all processes that needs to be digitalized will be completed.
22 government entities participated in the first phase of Menjem Labs. As a result of simplifying the procedures of 145 government services, the average number of steps required to complete those services decreased by 53%, while the average time needed to complete them decreased by 73%.
The Civil Aviation Authority has participated in the mining lab with two services that are being automated and re-engineered. Two are out of the 113 services that the Civil Aviation Authority is intending to re-engineer in the coming 1 year or so and launching to the beneficiaries. The two services that have been launched are the obstacle permits and also the overflight permits that have been made much more easier and faster to the beneficiaries.
It is worth mentioning that community participation was a vital aspect of the first phase of Menjem Labs, where around 126 individuals took part in the process of simplifying the procedures of the 145 services. Simplifying and digitalizing services will allow beneficiaries and stakeholders to obtain quality services in a timely manner. Salih Bakhalfan al-Rahbi, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Development projects in the Governorate of Muscat and the project of Greater Muscat Structure Plan topped the discussions of Muscat Municipal Council meeting. The meeting dwelt on the distribution of projects and their financial costs approved in the 10th five-year development plan. As part of Governorate's development program, around 52 projects will be implemented in the Governorate of Muscat, distributed in 6 wilayas. Such projects include establishing and developing parks, establishing walk paths, Matrah Square project, as well as the expansion of some roads and widening highways, in addition to establishing water drainage channels and implementing smart street lighting project. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Saud bin Hilal al-Busaidi, Governor of Muscat. The 6th Oman International Conference on Food Safety and Quality was launched in Muscat under the auspices of His Excellency Qais bin Mohammed Al Yusuf, Minister of Commerce, Industry and Investment Promotion. Here's a report.
The work of the 6th Oman International Conference on Food Safety and Quality began this morning in Muscat amid huge number of participants from inside and outside Oman. 45 working papers are being presented where the focus is on main axes: the artificial intelligence and modern technologies in food safety, management of food risks to achieve food security, food safety and quality, and its role in promoting sustainability in the economic sector.
GSO as a regional organization is playing a role in this part through the establishing standards which is related for food and quality for the safety and quality of the food, and we hope that this conference will come up with a recommendation that will benefit all the Arab region in particular and the Gulf region.
There is an advancement in the research. This advancement leads to many different variety of new products that sometimes has difficulties probably in managing it. It caused, the research as well caused some advancement in the processing, in the food processing. But in addition to those advancements, there is always a challenge, and the challenge will never end. There is also a challenge coming from the environment because of probably of human. There is a challenge coming from those new products because there might be new microbes, new viruses come, which means that we need also to update our capacities to deal with such advancement.
About 400 experts, specialists and interested people from inside and outside the Sultanate of Oman are participating in the conference, reviewing the most important issues facing food safety, reviewing developments and challenges, and exchanging expertise and experiences in this field. The conference is accompanied by a specialized exhibition for a number of government agencies and private sectors companies.
We are witnessing today actually something very interesting. The fact that the Sultanate is just selecting this conference at this point of time, while the whole world is celebrating the 60th anniversary of Codex, is a good sign that Oman is active on the global stage. Not only by the conference, but I think the establishment of the National Center on Food Quality and Safety is a major milestone.
It's worth mentioning that the conference coincides with the prestigious 60th anniversary of the establishment of the Codex Alimentarius Commission by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Health Organization.
It's important to attend meetings like this, and particularly impressive for Oman to host this conference because so much is happening at the moment in the world of food safety. Codex Alimentarius, the international standard setting body, is having its 60th anniversary. We've just celebrated World Food Safety Day around the theme of food standards saves lives. So for Oman to host the conference now is really far-sighted, and we've heard from a range of presenters, and we're now enjoying a wonderful presentation hall.
The Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources, in cooperation with the various relevant authorities, is keen to create a suitable environment for the development and strengthening of the food safety and quality system in the Sultanate of Oman as a national duty and a basic pillar that will enhance the elements of protecting public health. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources is committed to ensuring the safety and quality of food. This conference provides good platform for gathering information through latest research papers presented here and highlight smart technologies and industrial vitality to support the sustainable food manufacturing and enhance economic return. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The strong bilateral relations between the Sultanate of Oman and the United Arab Emirates were reviewed by His Excellency Sheikh Abdul Malik bin Abdullah Al Khalili, Chairman of State Council, while receiving His Excellency Maqsood Cruz, Head of the UAE National Human Rights Institutions, and his accompanying delegation. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed a number of regional and international issues with mutual concern. His Excellency, the head of the UAE National Human Rights Institution, got acquainted with the role of State Council, its work mechanisms, as well as its goals and specializations. He also was briefed on the legislative and supervisory powers of the Council of Oman. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Ministry of Social Development marks the graduation of the first batch of persons with disabilities within the Be With Us For Them initiative. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A specialized surgical team at the Royal Hospital succeeded in performing a surgical procedure to remove the right lung and part of the trachea, the first of its kind in the Sultanate of Oman and one of the rare operations in the world. The surgery was performed on a patient who was suffering from a cancerous tumor centered in the trachea and the main bronchi of the right lung, as it was diagnosed, and then examinations were performed to rule out the spread of the cancer, in addition to conducting lung function tests to ensure that the patient was able to survive with one lung. The case was presented to the Chest Tumor Board at the Royal Hospital, and a decision was taken to perform the resection operation as a radical treatment for the tumor, stressing that the patient, after the operation and follow-up treatment, is in good health and left the hospital without any complications. The Consulate General of the Sultanate of Oman in the city of Mumbai in the Republic of India called upon Omani citizens in the states of Maharashtra and Gujarat to take precaution and adhere to the instructions issued by the Indian authorities and follow up with the latest developments related to the tropical cyclone Biparjoy. The effective exchange rate index of the Omani Riyal rose by 5% to 113.7 points by the end of March 2023, compared to 108.3 points at the end of the same period in 2022, according to the data issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information. The statistics showed that the local liquidity grew by 503 million Omani Riyals to reach 21.5 billion Omani Riyals. The total currency issued by the end of March 2023 declined to reach 1.6 billion Omani Riyals. Meanwhile, the total foreign assets at the Central Bank of Oman decreased by 10.7% by the end of March 2023. The total deposits of private sector and commercial banks and Islamic outlets increased by 4.1%. The Ministry of Social Development held a ceremony to celebrate the graduation of the first batch of persons with intellectual, visual, movement, and hearing disability. This came within the initiative entitled Be With Us For Them. This kind of initiative comes within the efforts exerted by the Ministry of Social Development to serve the disabled as well as to provide training and employment opportunities in various fields. The event was presided over by Her Excellency Dr. Layla bint Ahmed al-Najjar, Minister of Social Development. Saudi Arabia and the United States condemned the resumption of violence in Sudan after a 24-hour truce between the warring parties expired, calling for immediate ceasefire and talks. Violent clashes between the Sudanese armed forces and the rival rapid support forces resumed in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, and surrounding areas yesterday morning, shortly after the 24-hour ceasefire mediated by Saudi Arabia and the US ended. Fierce fighting concentrated in south and east of Khartoum, as well as northern Durman, where both sides used heavy weapons to secure control of several military bases and important bridges. The fighting had spread to residential areas with at least two civilians got killed and dozens injured. The NATO begins the largest Air Force deployment exercise in Europe in the alliance's history today, in a display of unity towards partners and potential threats such as Russia. The German-led Air Defender 23 will run until June 23rd and include some 250 military aircrafts from 25 NATO and partner countries, including Japan and Sweden, which are bidding to join the alliance. Up to 10,000 people will participate in the drills intended to boost preparedness to protect against drones and cruise missiles in the case of an attack on cities, airports, or seaports within NATO territory. The exercise will include operational and tactical level training, primarily in Germany, but also in the Czech Republic, Estonia, and Latvia. Ukraine said today that its troops had recaptured a fourth village in a cluster of settlements in the southeast, a day after reporting the first small gains of a counter-offensive against Russian forces. Ukraine has enforced strict operational silence to avoid compromising an operation it hopes will retake parts of land in the east and south and threaten the land bridge Russia uses to supply the occupied Crimea Peninsula. Russia, which said last week the counteroffensive had begun, has depicted it as a failure so far, posting images of destroyed American and German-made fighting vehicles and tanks. Ukraine said its forces had liberated 3 villages that lie on the edge of Donetsk region next to Zaporozhye. Mayan started spewing lava yesterday night after the smoking volcano caused earthquakes and rockfalls, and experts warned of potential explosive activity. The 2,462-meter volcano in central Alpay province is exhibiting magmatic eruption, the state volcanology agency said in a statement late last week. An alert level 3 on a scale of 5, Mayan has increased chances of lava flows and the potential for explosive activity within weeks or even days. The agency had elevated Mayan to alert level 2 on June 5th. It said people within a 6-kilometer radius of the volcano should be evacuated, while pilots should avoid flying their aircraft close to the volcano's crater. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. 145 services to simplify the procedures of government services in the first phase of Menjem laboratories are approved. The 6th Oman International Conference on Food Safety and Quality is launched in Muscat. And the Royal Hospital succeeds in performing an operation to remove the right lung and part of the trachea for a patient suffering from a cancerous tumor. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and stay safe.